Hi, I hope everyone is doing well. It has been a few weeks since I've been able to record a Sunday school lesson. I have been struggling with a respiratory and sinus infection that has taken my voice and really my ability to breathe. So I wasn't able to record Sunday school lessons, so hopefully I will be able to make it through this week's lesson. So our lesson title is A Blasphemer is Stoned. So what is a blasphemer? We've heard the term blasphemy before if we've been in church in an amount of time. Blasphemy is when someone curses God. And so a blasphemer is someone who commits blasphemy, who curses God and insults God, uses the Lord's name in vain, showing absolute contempt for God. And in our lesson today, we're going to see an example of a blasphemer and what the punishment should be. But at the same time, we'll get to understand why it's such a serious thing to go against the holiness of God. So our lesson comes from Leviticus, the 24th chapter, the 10th through the 23rd verse. So let's start off reading verses 10 through 12, and that will give us a sense of who the blasphemer was. And the son of an Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel. And the son of the Israelitish woman and the man of Israel strove together in the camp. And the Israelitish woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed. And they brought him unto Moses, and his mother's name was Shelemith, and the daughter of Debri, of the tribe of Dan. And they put him in ward, that the mind of the Lord might be shown them. So we see that this individual who curses God, who commits blasphemy, he is the son of a mixed union of, what we would call today interracial dating, interracial marriage or interracial union. His mother is an Israelite. His father is an Egyptian. And we even know what his mother's name is and who she's the daughter of, as well as what tribe she comes from. And we also get to find out that his father is Egyptian. So the writer of Leviticus lets us know very early on about this person's ancestry and the fact that he's fighting and cursing in the camp. So because of that mixed ancestry, his mixed heritage, there's a question that arises. Does the law of Israel, does it apply to this mixed person? He's only half an Israelite. His mother's an Israelite. His father's Egyptian. So does this law of God, the God of Israel, does his law apply to this person even though he's not a full Hebrew Israel ancestry? So that's the question of the beginning of the text. So this individual that's been fighting and cursing in the camp, he's brought to Moses and held in custody so that the Lord's will can be made clear. So let's see how God responds to this situation by reading the rest of the verses of the lesson. So let's read verses 13 through 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Bring forth him that hath cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him. And thou shalt speak unto the Lord, unto the children of Israel, saying, Whosoever curseth his God shall bear his sin, and he that blasphemeth the name of the Lord, he shall surely be put to death. And all the congregation shall certainly stone him, as well as the stranger, as he is born in the land, when he blasphemed the name of the Lord, and shall be put to death. And he that killeth any man shall surely be put to death. And he that killeth a beast shall make it good, beast for beast. And if a man causes a blemish in his neighbor, as he hath done, so shall it be done to him. Breach for breach, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. as he hath caused a blemish in a man, so shall it be done to him again. And he that killeth the beast, he shall restore it, and that he killeth the man, he shall be put to death. Ye shall have one manner of law, as well as for the stranger, as for one of your own country. For I am the Lord your God. And Moses spake to the children of Israel, that they should bring forth him that had cursed out of the camp, and stone him with stones. And the children of Israel did as the Lord commanded Moses. So we see God speak and let his will be known. His will is for the blasphemer to be punished by stoning. So he's to be taken out of the camp, so that the camp won't be defiled. And so those who heard the blasphemy, they're to lay hands on that person so that they can rid themselves of the guilt of hearing that against God. And the entire assembly was to stone him. That seems like a lot of capital punishment in our today's term for words coming out of the mouth. But that was so serious because God is holy. To speak against God like that was to speak against his holiness. So God goes on and clarifies that this law applies to all who live within Israel, despite their ancestry. Remember the first 3 verses? That's all it talked about was the ancestry of this blasphemer. And God lets them know it does not matter. If they're living within Israel, they have to abide by his law. And then from verses 17 to 22, he gives other instances of when crimes and things happen within Israel, that the crime, the punishment, and the restoration for that crime applies to all. And the children, they did just as the Lord commanded for him to do. They take him out and stone him. So a few lesson takeaways that we have is that God is holy. He is high and exalted. He is above all. He deserves our devotion, our reverence. We cannot use his name in vain. He commanded that it was not to be used in vain. So when we curse God, we're going against who God is and what he does for us. So that is a very serious matter. And that is how it's dealt with in this instance in the text, as an example of how serious it is that we respect God and respect his name. That is who he is, and we should respect him. In today's world, the young people would say, put some respect on his name. Don't disrespect God. Always respect God and have reverence for him. So that is our lesson for today. Next week we will pick up with complaints about manna, and we'll be moving to Numbers, the 11th chapter, the 4th through the 6th verse, verses 10 through 23 as well. I hope that you all have had a wonderful few weeks. I again apologize for not being able to put up lessons, but my voice was just gone. It's not the best right now, but it does sound a little bit better to get a lesson recorded. I thank everyone that reached out to check on me and to find out what was going on. I hope you have an awesome week, and I look forward to talking to you next week.